So, I was in the bookstore a couple months ago, and I don't remember what I was there to get, but as I was walking past, I saw this book, and it's called Clockwork Destiny. Um, Perhaps you may remember a couple of months ago when I read Clockwork Lives, which is right next to it. I remember these are my favorite books. I didn't even know this book existed. I haven't read the first one, but as far as I'm aware, the first one doesn't seem to be related to those two. These two are directly related to each other. Directly related to each other. Um, so yeah. Miranda is here, and the clockmaker wants her to write about his life, but like his blood is all weird and messed up, so she's not sure how that's going to work. And there's also some issues with like the things that are sustaining the city. It's running out, and they need to get more of it. So we end up going on this like entire adventure in order to get some stuff that like causes immortality to happen. And one of the guys that they get, um, his name is Owen. Owen wants to give some to his wife because his wife is dying and he can't live without her. His wife is already like, dude, don't start. I've lived my life. There's another grief story, I guess. I've lived my life. I'm good. The immortality stuff is called quintessence. Miranda doesn't end up going on their adventure with them because she's old now and she doesn't think that she'll be able to make the journey. She's probably right. So she doesn't end up going with them. And like, this is one of those books that I kind of just want you to trust me and go out and read. You don't need Clockwork Lives in order to understand Clockwork Destiny. Like that, you do not need the both books in order to understand them. But this it's just a lot that goes on, and also the story is really good, and I want more people to read it. I understand that Kevin Anderson I don't think is well liked, or I'm confusing him with another author whose last name is also Anderson. There's I'll talk about it in my Dune video and I'm gonna make. There's an author who is not liked because his writing isn't great, but there's a second author and his name is Neil Peart, and I believe Neil Peart is in like a rock band or something like that. I have no idea. Maybe if I did these videos in more of a timely manner, I would remember these things. But yeah, there's like rebels as well who want to blow up the Clockwork building because they are of the belief that clockwork, which brought peace, is ruining people's lives because everybody's life is decided for them. So they want to do that. And it doesn't end up working. They're stopped. Um Owen ends up getting the quintessence, which not great. His wife was already dead by the time that they got back, but yeah, now Owen's going to live a very long time. And oh, it wasn't that the clockmaker wanted to have his have his autobiography written. He wanted his own version of the Clockwork book. Remember, if she got a drip of someone's blood on one of the pages, then it would like pull out their like life story, I guess. Um, that's what the whole Clockwork Lives is about. That he wanted it in the book, but he couldn't make it work because his blood is weird, and Miranda is able to give him no, Miranda's not able to help him. I don't think, not before he like has to accept the reality that he's going to die. But Miranda gives Owen's grandson his own clockwork book so that he can like go around and do stuff with it. So that's fun. Uh I like it. The steampunk thing is better on screen. Like I wasn't able to really visualize that sort of thing because it's got like a steampunk sort of thing with the clocks and stuff. Clocks are a very big part of steampunk. Um, no one got on my nerves. I don't know. I thought it was good. Um, yeah, there's more. There's also a better motivation in this book. I know what the motivation was in the first book by her father, but because I said so is not a good motivation. And also, I don't see anything wrong with people living their lives the way they want to live them. Just because you feel like someone has wasted their life doesn't mean they feel like they have. So I didn't like that. Um, yeah. Now we're going to talk about Skin of the Sea, which is also on this bookshelf. I wasn't going to read it originally, like when it first came out, but I ended up buying it and I read it, and now I'm going to read the second one. It's pretty good. Uh, let's see here. I had no preconceived notions. I actually don't remember why I didn't want to read it. I think somehow I got it in my head that this was a book about slavery. It is and it isn't. It's not a huge part of it, but Simi is the main character. It's in first person and she's a mermaid. She collects the souls of the people who fall into the water and stuff, and she delivers them back to her, what is like her guardian, I guess. And one person she saves, so it becomes like a whole thing where she has to like go and like beg for forgiveness. And there's another conflict, like the supreme god's like is gonna kill them, and then there's like another conflict going on where there's like some children. The person that she saved ironically has a little brother and a little sister. They're twins. They have some sort of magic that will let someone, the antagonist, control like the entirety of the world, and they can't let him get that either. So in order to get to the supreme god, they end up having to like stop that person and save the twins, and then she ends up having to make a deal with someone in order to get them to save him, because the guy, the antagonist, no one likes him. He's kind of been a dick for the last 100 years or so. 100, probably more than that. But yeah, like it's like a whole thing. Also, the kid that she saved, what is his name? I wrote it down somewhere, I think. Um, hang on. Adekola, I think. I don't know what his name is, but she ends up like also if she falls in love with a human, she'll turn to sea foam, that type of mermaid stuff, and it's like a whole thing. Um, and Yeah, she gets memories of her human life occasionally, which is weird. I don't remember if she recovers them all by the time she's at the end of the story, but yeah, I'm hungry. Um so it's like a whole thing. Yeah, another book that I kind of just want you to trust me and go out and buy and read, because black girls when black women and black women do the black womening, it's like the most beautiful black women you've ever seen, right? And that's what that book is, because the main character is black. There's some reference to like mermaids being the ones that couldn't be saved in like slavery, because if you don't know, there were a lot of slaves who were going to be slaves, and they were taken onto the boats to be brought over here to the new world, but they would rather drown, so they jumped off of the boats. I believe one of the ships like actually crashed, but like Natasha Bowen, lady who wrote the book, she's Nigerian and Welsh, and like she's like just black women, just black womening, and black women. As you can tell, I'm probably a little bit biased, but black women is the best black womening. It's awesome. uh, read the book, buy the book, read the book. I'm going to read the second one eventually. It's gonna be great. Um, yeah. Um, I got time. um Also, wait, hang on. She hasn't told the guy that she likes. I wrote Cola as his nickname, I think. She hasn't told him that they can't be together, otherwise she'll turn into seafoam. That's probably a really important thing to mention, or does the mentioning of it admit that you love them and then she turned into seafoam? I don't know. I feel like if she were already in love with him, the way that the thing is saying that she would have to be, she'd probably be seafoam already. You should probably tell them that they can't, like if there's like an active barrier from you being with somebody, maybe instead of it being a huge misunderstanding, you should tell them. Anyway, Subtle Knife is next in his Dark Materials. I didn't end up keeping it. This book is ridiculous. I read the Wikipedia page like 3 times, and I'm still not even entirely sure what this book series is about. Something about the church and Christians. Um I don't know what it's about. There's like another world that Lyra ends up being able to go to where there's no demons, and I don't know if that is the goal. I don't know what the story of this series is. Apparently, the knife is more important than the compass and ended up being. I don't know. Um, there's a lot of really short things that I didn't end up liking. And then we reach Sky Hunter. Yeah, okay, so I'll do that. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video. Until the Mountains Fall is the third in the Cities of Refuge. Another one that I didn't end up finishing, but I'm going to keep it because I think this is just a book series that I should probably read on my own. This is like Flames in the Night. I'm sorry. This is Until the Mountains Fall. What? I had them backwards on my bookshelf. Until the Mountains Fall is the next one. There's a girl marrying into their family, and she doesn't want to. And what I imagine ends up happening is that by the end of the book, she realizes that they're actually a really nice family, and that it wouldn't be so bad to marry into them. I don't know. I haven't read it. It's Christian fiction, but if you're concerned about it, about that sort of thing, for even though I like that book series, if you're concerned about that, I will tell you that it feels like the Christian part of it has less and less to do with it as the story goes on. So maybe it's not as much as like something else would be, as like a Chris Cameron book would be. So yeah, I read the Guinevere Deception next, sort of. I wasn't really sure what was happening. She was Fae and she was sent to protect Arthur. I don't know what was going on. The book is well written. I just didn't like it. I feel like I spend a lot of time bored on this channel, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because there are people actively taking years off of their life by reading bad books. I don't want to do that unless it's like, unless I think it'll be purely for comedic value. Like I have one in a while that'll be for purely comedic value. I don't know, man. I just, standing and filming these videos is weird because I don't want to stand in one spot. And I keep doing this. I'm like a waving inflatable flailing tube barb man. Um, yeah, it wasn't for me. I also ended up reading Foul Twins because remember I said I was gonna read that. I didn't like that book either. Owen Colfair said that he needed a break from Artemis Fowl because he felt like if he just kept writing, we would have been on Artemis Fowl 15 by now. Artemis isn't even in the book. I feel like it's pretty important to bring up the fact that he has memory loss and is basically a clone of who he actually is. And the Artemis Fowl that I have on my green bookshelf is more or less, depending on how you look at it, it's Holly telling him the story. And I guess we're just not going to talk about that. Apparently he's like on Mars or something like that. But I don't know. On the one hand, I guess I've just outgrown the series, which makes me sad because I like it. I have very fond memories of those first Artemis Fowl books. Those last two, however, but I have very fond memories of the Artemis Fowl books. I don't know. I guess it's just sad to like actually realize that you've outgrown a favorite book series. I don't know.